Welcome to the Q1 Buck Poll. I'm Tim Hart with Mike Big Buck Hoffner. On today's show, we're going to be talking to the DNR's Russ Mason about the importance of buying a license, whether you hunt or fish or not.
Yeah, the money all goes back to the DNR, so I encourage all of you, if you love the great outdoors, buy a license and help support the DNR.
Then we're off to the Soaring Eagle Casino. We've got Chef Chris Nadabny with us today. He's going to be cooking up some Hungarian-style venison goulash with mustard spatzel and braised red cabbage.
Yeah, you know, we put all of our recipes. They're on the website. Hunting season is over. Get out there, get those recipes, and cook a delicious dish.
And then we're going to go to Mike's neck of the woods, what he does during the day, and that's at the Branch Area Career Center. They had their own buck poll, and Mike had a chance to talk to some of the students.
It's great to see kids get involved, and our FFA chapter sponsored a buck poll this year, and they asked us to come on over and kind of give some prizes away to the kids that participated in our own school's buck poll.
All right, the parties start coming up January 20th. The first one will be at the Kellogg Arena for Regions 2 and 4. We've got all of the details online, plus you'll get something in the mail, and we will also have it in our newsletter. So check it all out. You can go to q1buckpoll.com to get that information, along with seeing all the bucks from around the state. Stay with us. We got more coming up. You're watching the Q1 Buck Poll.
Q1 Buck Poll, Michigan's biggest and best buck poll contest. Brought to you by these sponsors who support Michigan's great outdoors.
Back here on the Q1 Buck Poll, well, before we talk to the DNR's Russ Mason about the importance of buying a hunting license or a fishing license or any kind of license out there, we've got Big Buck Hoffner with some big bucks.
Here we go, Tim. Let's start out with David Stabas with a 12-pointer from Grand Ledge. His score was 52.12. Then we had Stephen Avery bringing in an 8-pointer from Homer. His score was 50 1/4. And then William Cooley with a 12-pointer. He is from Litchfield, Michigan. His score was 54 1/2.
You can see these and all of the deer online at q1buckpoll.com. We've got all the rankings, and we're just about ready to finalize all the places. Now let's go to Lansing and talk to the DNR's Russ Mason about licenses. On our DNR education segment this week, we have Russ Mason with us. He's the Wildlife Division Chief. Welcome to the show,
It's a
Russ.
pleasure, sir. Thank you.
Russ, now let's talk about the waterfowl legacy. What's that all about?
Well, it's something that's very special to us. You know, today we're standing at the Shiawassee Managed Waterfowl Area. It's a wonderful area. And there are others around the state, Nyanquin Point, Fish Point, Harson's Island, Point Mouillet. These are very special. In fact, they're unique. Michigan's got something that nobody else has. They're wonderful for waterfowl and also all kinds of other birds that depend on those kinds of habitats. 2012 is a very special year for us. It's the 75th anniversary of the Pittman-Robertson Fund, which is the excise tax that supports conservation. It's the 75th anniversary for Ducks Unlimited. And finally, it's the 75th anniversary for Michigan United Conservation Clubs. It also happens to be the 25th anniversary for the North American Waterfowl Management Plan. So we want to do something special in 2012 to raise people's awareness about these unique resources that we have in this state, the importance of waterfowling and the traditions in this state, and also to do something to restore that conservation ethic that seems to be lacking sometimes in not just hunters, but in people in general. You know, something that's different about Michigan in terms of all the states that talk about natural resources is that we had nothing at the turn of the 19th to the 20th century. And we built it all in the last 100 years. Now we have more public land than any place east of the Mississippi. We have abundant wildlife and fish resources. People sort of, you know, sometimes seem to take it for granted. And there's nothing for granted about it. This has taken commitment from the public and from the department for 100 years.
We can do a part right now. I mean, even if you don't hunt, like you talked about before, if you don't hunt, buy a license because tax dollars are not going to pay for this stuff, as we've talked about. It's people getting involved.
That's absolutely right. You know, folks call me every now and again. They're mad at me about something. They say, well, I'm a taxpayer. You need to listen to me. And I'm, okay, well, turns out I'm glad you pay your taxes. I'm pretty sure that keeps people out of jail, but that's got nothing to do with conservation in the state of Michigan. conservation of all species, game, non-game, threatened, rare, endangered, the whole 9 yards, is funded by licensed dollars and federal match. For every licensed dollar that we get, I get $3 from the federal government. So say you bought a $15 deer license. I automatically turn that into $60 that's put on the ground in the state of Michigan. Now, I'm not going to give you a baseball hat or a t-shirt, right, but if you want to make an investment in the natural resources in the state, regardless of whether you hunt or fish, you like to bird watch, you like to hike in the national forest or in the state forest, any of those things, that investment, the single most important thing you can do to support natural resources and the conservation of fish and wildlife in the state of Michigan.
Russ, nice being with us.
It's a pleasure, sir. Thank you.
Great information. Wildlife Division Chief Russ Mason's been with us. You're watching the Q1 Buck Poll. Stay tuned. We got more coming up after this. Time for a sponsor spotlight here on the Q1 Buck Poll. Tim Hart at Taxidermy by Door Lane. We've got Kevin Van Atta with us. Kevin, welcome to the show, buddy.
Thanks, man.
All right, we've got some big animals here behind us. So what are we doing here?
We are doing a moose, a stone sheep, and a mountain goat, all in a habitat scene, if you will, all together in one diorama. What you see here is this is kind of the layout of how we would do something like this. This stone sheep, when he's all finished, is going to be a couple feet higher than he is up on the side of a mountain. The mountain goat will be probably about a foot below the ceiling. And so this will be viewed in a 360-degree fashion, so everybody's looking in a different direction, and it's really going to capture the guy's hunt, him and his daughter's hunt. So.
Now, something like this, do people come in and say, hey, here's my idea, here's what I want, or do they come in to somebody like yourself and say, okay, here's the animals I have, I want it kind of in a setting, what do you think?
Yeah, we have both of that. Most of the time they will say, well, I've got this much room, give me some ideas.
Okay.
And so we will then formulate, we'll draw sketches. Sometimes we use little clay models just to give them an idea what that would look like. And we take it from there. And we talk about, the finances of it and so forth. And really it's up to the customer, but we get to put all the frosting on the cake, so.
All right, Kevin Van Atta at Taxidermy by Door Lane. We're now going to take a look at the finished product. All right, are you ready for a great venison recipe from the Soaring Eagle Casino? We've got Chris Nadobny with us, but before that, well, we got to check in with some of the big bucks from Big Buck Hoffman.
You can't have venison recipes without those big bucks. So let's start out with Dan Weaver bringing in a 9-pointer from Union City. His score was 49.5. Mike Schultz bringing in a 13-pointer from Jackson. His score was 54.88. And finally, Jeff Teague with a 12-pointer from Albion, Michigan. His score was 51.62.
All right, now it's time to get another recipe from Chris Nadobny at the Soaring Eagle. We remind you that March 3rd is our big event at the Soaring Eagle. Every hunter is invited to try to come on out and win that ATV, and they will have some fabulous eats. Not quite as fabulous as what we're going to be cooking today.
But food is on the table. It's a great event, great prizes, going to have a wonderful year.
We're cooking it up right here at the Soaring Eagle. We got Chef Chris Nadobny with us. Chef, welcome to the show.
How you doing, sir?
It's good to see you again. Today we got kind of a unique dish. It's got a lot of ingredients, Hungarian-style venison goulash, but there's other things that are going with it.
Absolutely. We've got a sweet and sour braised red cabbage to complement a very rich venison dish, a mustard-style spätzle to serve over underneath that. It's going to come together great, especially on a cold, wintry day.
Venison at its finest here at the Soaring Eagle. All right, where are we going to start?
We're going to start first by putting together one of the seasoning ingredients in this, which would be caraway seed, minced garlic, and some lemon zest. So I'm going to mince that all together, reserve that aside, and then we'll move on to doing one of the other ingredients, or seasoning components of this dish.
All right, well, let's go ahead and start here.
Okay, we've got whole garlic cloves, lemon zest, and whole caraway seed, which we're going to mince together to be part of our seasoning component to this dish. Once we've got that minced, we're just going to set it aside, reserve it for a little bit later.
All right. All right, so we've got that all minced up. What's our next step?
Our next step is we're going to be putting together what in the industry we call a sachet, or it's a little bundle of herbs and spices we can introduce into this dish and take it out after it's done without having to strain all the sauce.
Really? All right.
So we're going to take about a 4x4 piece of cheesecloth, lay that out, and you can get the cheesecloth at any of your local grocery stores, even a butcher shop if need be. In this, we're going to put about 20 black peppercorns, 1 full sprig of oregano, fresh oregano, very important, and 1 bay leaf. And all we do is we bring the corners together, make a little bundle, and tie it off.
All right, now it's time to turn to the stove, I take it?
Absolutely, yep.
All right, let's get all set up here.
Okay, all right, we're going to start braising our venison shanks. The first step in this is we're going to add a little bit of a neutral oil, like a canola or vegetable oil, to a moderately warm pan. Once that's warm, we're going to add very thinly sliced onions, which we've caramelized ahead of time. Caramelize those onions, you bring out the sweetness in them. You want to cook them low and slow, and it does take a little bit of a time, but the end result is definitely worth it. So we add that to it.
And then how long will you
cook those? Once these are caramelized, this will take about 30 seconds to warm back up, and then to this we're going to add our tomato paste. Okay, we've added our tomato paste to this, and what we're looking to do now is we're going to brown that tomato paste. We're going to caramelize the natural sugars in it. It's going to bring out some of the natural sweetnesses in that product, and we're going to let that cook for probably about 1 minute and 30 seconds, stirring constantly because we don't want this product to burn. Okay. At that point, we're going to add our red wine. We've reduced our red wine till just syrupy, and now we're going to add our sweet paprika. Now at this point, once that red wine is reduced out, we've added that paprika, and we almost have a paste type consistency in here. We're going to add our venison shank to it, and all we're going to do is we're going to season it.
And what are you putting on the venison shank then?
Just a little bit of kosher salt. And we'll finish this with black pepper at the end of the cooking process.
So again, we have not basted this, we have not cooked it, we've not done anything to it.
Nothing. We're going to put this in just as is. So we're going to put that right in our dish, right in our pot, our rondeau, if you will. Once we bring this up to a simmer, we'll add our sachet, our little seasoning bundle to this. Once it's at a simmer, we'll add that to it. We'll cover this with aluminum foil. We'll put it in about a 325-degree oven for approximately 2.5 to 3 hours. All right, next we're moved on to our braised red cabbage. We can start this as our venison cooks. This will take about 45 minutes to an hour. So first we're going to start with some diced smoked bacon. Okay, once we have that bacon rendered out and we've got a fair amount of fat, what we're going to do is we want to pull out that rendered bacon, leaving just a little bit of the fat in there. So
notice that you're using like a ladle type of thing to leave that juice in.
A slotted spoon, or you could even use, you could strain it off with a china cap or chinois or strainer of some sort. Okay, once we've got that out, we're going to add our onions, our diced apples. We're going to add our cabbage.
Now that's a lot of cabbage.
That's a lot of cabbage, but this is going to cook down considerably. We're going to add our red wine, juniper berries. So we're going to add just about half of a cinnamon stick, our sugar, and our red currant jelly. Okay, this venison has been cooking for about 2.5 hours. We're going to pull it out. The last half hour of cooking, we're going to add our caraway garlic and lemon zest mixture. We're going to put that in there, put that back in the oven, let it finish about a half hour. As we're doing this, we can start our spatzel to finish this dish. Okay.
All right, so out of the oven. How long has that been in there?
That has been in there about 2.5 hours. Oh yeah, it's cooked down.
Well, you can see it's ready to eat almost
right
now. Very tender looking.
Absolutely. So we're just going to take that garlic, lemon zest, and caraway seed that we made earlier. We're going to mix that in there. Make sure it's all in that sauce. Okay, now we're going to cover that back up, put that back in the oven for about 20 minutes to a half hour, and as that's finishing up, we can start our spätzle. Spätzle is a German dumpling, very fine in texture. We've added a little bit of mustard to our spätzle dough, give it just a little bit of kick when it's going with that venison. So we're going to, as soon as our butter gets a little bit foamy like this, we're going to add our spätzle to it. And we're going to saute that till it's golden brown on one side, flip it, season it, and we'll be done.
All right, now it's time to bring it all together. I'm back in the picture because, you know, when the chef's cooking, you got to get out of the way. You can't have too many chefs in the kitchen. All right, so we're going to start with our spätzle,
We're going to start with our spätzle. We're going to put probably 3 to 4 ounces of spätzle in the bottom of the plate or bowl, whatever you wish. We're just making a nice bed for these shanks. We're going to take our shanks, depending on how much you like to eat.
A lot.
We'll put a couple of nice sized shanks on there.
And again, this is going to be very tender.
Very tender.
Because it's been cooking for so long.
Cooked for so long. It's broken down those connective tissues. We're going to take some of that sauce.
Do you find that the juice, the sauce, adds to that breaking down?
Absolutely. You need that liquid in there. You need that steaming action.
Are you hungry yet? I am.
All around there. Then we're going to take a little bit of our red cabbage, which will be a nice foil.
Put that right on top.
Right on top. Fresh parsley.
Oh, you got to decorate.
And we're good to go.
All right, so there's the Hungarian-style venison goulash with the mustard spätzle and the braised red cabbage. And, well, now it's time to take a little taste. Now, I don't need a knife?
You don't need a knife. This will fall right apart. Get a piece of that shank, a little bit of that red cabbage with it together.
A little bit of that on there. Very tender.
Very tender, very rich, great dish.
You know, you talk about that little bit of sweet and sour taste to it, along with the
richness and a little bit of bite of that paprika, and it just brings it all together.
Delicious. You can get all the recipes online at q1buckpole.com. Chef Chris Nadabdi from the Soaring Eagle. What a delicious dinner we're going to have today. You're watching the Q1 Buck Pole. Stay with us. We got more coming up. Well, we've got nothing but big bucks in this segment. Isn't that right?
Exactly, Tim. We've got bucks, and more bucks, but let's start out with Mark Newton from Jackson, Michigan, bringing in a 9-pointer. His score was 52. Then we had Jeff Bailey with an 11-pointer from Ceresco. His score was 48.5. Matthew Bray's 14-pointer from Byron Center scores 50.25, and Tom Smith with a 12-pointer from Allegan scoring 52.62. Tim, we've had some awesome bucks brought in this year.
Well, we've got some more awesome bucks right now from the Branch Area Career Center. Each and every year they hold their own buck poll. And Mike, being the principal and administrator there at the Career Center, he said, hey, let's go talk to the FFA.
Yeah, you know, the FFA, they actually came up with the idea, Tim, and they're fan favorites of our show. You got some kids that are passionate about hunting that are at the Career Center, and I had 2 of them come in and they saw me. They were wearing their FFA jackets, and they say, hey, Mr. Hoffner, how about if we do a Career Center buck poll? We're actually going to give away some prizes this year. So I think they're onto something, and they've got plans to have it grow even bigger next year. This is actually the first time that we're entering down kind of a whole new pathway of doing what we call a buck pole show here at the Branch Area Career Center. You're all familiar with the Q1 buck pole, and our major focus and major goal is to focus on all the big bucks that are shot in Michigan. This year, I want to introduce Jordan Parker and Tyler Johnson. And these 2 guys are from the Branch Area Career Center FFA program, and they come down to my office to see me. Actually, they've been down multiple times this year to see me. It started out with one conversation that grew into another conversation that grew into another conversation, and lo and behold, they came up with an idea of saying, through our FFA program, we want to do a big buck contest. So what we wanted to do is just kind of introduce the people that entered their racks this year. And so in the bow division, we actually had 4 people that participated in that contest that entered deer. There were others that shot deer, but they didn't bring them in. Hunter Stafford. Hunter placed first in the competition. He shot a 9-point buck, and his green score was 123 for the winner of the bow division. So congratulations, and for that, he also wins a check for $30. So let's congratulate Hunter. Good job. Next, Our first place winner in the gun division is Dalton Keegan. Come on over here, Dalton. Grab his rack for him. Oh man, he brought the whole head too. But Dalton shot a 10-pointer, and his green score on this deer was 150, and his Q1 buck pole score is 44. And you're from Reading, is that correct?
Yes.
All right, tell us a little bit about your hunt.
I hunt right behind our property and swamp on both sides. So after I got done hunting one night, it was starting to set, sun started to set. I was walking out, and on one of our swamps right beside our house, I saw a buck. And I sat there and waited, and it lifted its head. I saw it was a buck, and after that, I started firing, and he hit the ground.
So on behalf of Q1 Video and the Q1 Buck Pull, I want to thank you all for being here, and I want to give these guys one more round of applause for participating in this year's event. Congratulations.
And remember, you can see all of the big bucks at q1buckpull.com. Our prize parties are coming up. They start January 20th at the Kellogg Arena, and we've got prizes from dart and archery. We've got crossbows. We've got muzzleloaders from CVA. We've got all kinds of scents, attractants, lures, cover-ups from Buck Fever Synthetics. We have arrows from Carbon Express. I'm trying to think of it all because we've got a lot. We've got Gorilla Tree Stands. We've got a lot of fabulous prizes.
Yeah, we got safety harnesses, you name it, we've got it. If you're a hunter, you want to be there because you'll enjoy the parties and you'll be happy to walk out the door with something great.
Not only for the hunters, but we have a lot of prizes for guests. So if you'd like to come on out and see the big deer, you haven't gotten one this year, come on out to some of the different prize parties. All right, that's going to do it for this week. For Mike Big Buck Hoffner, I'm Tim Hart. Thanks for being with us. Remember, whenever you're out in the woods, stay safe.
For the latest on Michigan hunting, pick up the current edition of Woods and Water News, Michigan's premier outdoor publication. Available on newsstands or by subscription. Woods and Water News, proud sponsor of the Q1 Buck Poll.
I'm giving you like the look, like I'm interested in what you're saying.
That was really
I'm really
good.
looking past you, though.
Okay, that's all right.
I was reading those numbers on something.
Was that good enough? Cut him off.
I like to hear myself talk. I'm looking good in this shirt.
I know. You do look good in that shirt.
Yep. That'd be Tigre.
El Tigre. Isn't that tiger? El
Sorry.
Tigre?
Yeah, something like that.